welcome back to my channel. So, my name is Morgan, and I've been doing YouTube for some years now, and I really don't have a lot of subscribers, and I guess that's my channel's not I guess that's why, because my channel doesn't have a lot of subscribers, so my content doesn't really get out. Anyway, I wanted to talk to y'all about a subject that most people, when they talk about it, on YouTube, a ton of YouTubers talk about this, and I've seen comments where people are, after a year, if you talk about them again, and you haven't really been talking about them, I've seen comments where people are like, oh, okay, you're just using us, you're just trying to get attention, and I just want everyone on here to understand that when someone dies, in your family, or a close friend of yours, something like that, if you have someone die who's really important to you, then, if you've never experienced this at all, you literally have no idea how it feels to lose someone like that. And, it's not cool to just tell people that they are mean for talking about this, because this subject really isn't easy for anyone to talk about. No one really likes talking, constantly about someone like that. It's nice every once in a while to talk about this subject, but for most people, it's if you're bringing it up all the time, they just don't feel comfortable with talking to you about that. You don't understand what they're going through if you've never gone through this yourself. I know that part of why people are probably thinking everyone who talks about this subject is tricking them or trying to do it for attention is probably because there are some YouTubers who probably have never gone for the subject and pretend they have or something. They're just trying to get attention, but they've never actually gone for this personally. And I think that's part of why everyone is just into thinking, this person isn't really sad, they're just using it. And y'all, if you are just trying to do this for attention, if you've never actually gone for this subject, please stop, because literally this is just not easy for anyone who has gone through it. And it just, it makes me so mad that people just keep on getting on there and are like, oh my gosh, get over it, dude. It's not that big a problem. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all for you to just be, mean to someone just because they've lost someone and they're not talking about it. Most people do not like talking about a person that they've lost, that has died, and it's kind of really irritating when people just, think you're using that and think that, they're not really sad about this. So I want everyone to understand that it's not an easy subject, and, even if you've never lost someone, I'd like you to understand that I know that there are some people who have never gone for this, but, they know it's probably hard, even though they've never, known how hard it is, and they wouldn't be mean to anyone over this. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. My father died when I was 9. We were at school one day, and he just never showed. So my school called my brother's school. He went to the local primary school. I went to the local elementary school. And one day, my father just never showed up. So the school called my brother's school, and when finding he was still at school too, and our father never picked him up either. Then they called my mom, who is a doctor's assistant, and she came down from work, got us, and she found him in the bathroom. It was really horrible, and it was just not a good experience. We ended up going to my cousin's house, but then my grandmother convinced us to stay at her house, and we ended up switching plans and staying at her house overnight. I think my mom said she literally got absolutely no sleep that night. And also, if you're really, really young when this happened, like I was 9 when this happened, then you're was, I think, 6 or 7, maybe 5 when her father passed away. She didn't understand what it meant either, what it really meant, and you don't really understand until years later when you're old enough to understand what's going on. So some people are going to react to it years later if they were very young. But it's not an easy subject for anyone to eventually realize or that has realized it. So yeah. I'm just asking everyone on here to just stop, just assuming that people are, just mean for talking about this. Because they don't talk about it a lot, and I just want y'all to understand that this subject really isn't easy for anyone to talk about. There are these YouTubers I watch, and one of them has posted about her mother's passing. She passed away from cancer some years ago. I think it was like February 17, in 2017. And her sisters and her were all young adults and teenagers at the time. Her old sister was 20, so, yeah, so it's not an easy subject for anyone to go through, especially at, my age and everyone's age that I've mentioned, because it's not an easy subject for kids or even young adults or, adults like my aunt who just recently lost her mom last year. It's just not an easy subject for anyone who is at a young age to understand. Or anyone really to understand. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's not an easy subject to understand. It's just a little harder for people who are so young. But it's really hard for anyone to go through, at any age. And yeah, he's trying to get my headphones. He is in my lap, and he's been trying to get my headphones. Okay, so my life has become really stressful, lately because my grandfather is trying to get into that confused state. And since my grandmother, this is my mom's dad, my grandmother, who's my dad's, mother, is also, in a state where she's sometimes confused and sometimes gets mad at us for different stuff. She keeps, food way past its expiration date in the fridge and gets, upset if we throw it out, even though it's no longer good. So, yeah, it's stressing, and, yeah, like I said, just because someone doesn't talk about death like that if they love someone, just because they don't talk about death doesn't mean they're not upset. It just means that they are, they just don't feel like it, and I just want y'all to understand that again. So, yeah, my cat died earlier this year, and that was really hard experience for us to go through because my first Sunday school teacher had died, I think, a month before, and my grandfather's sister died within the same week. And then someone in my family died, but it's not a family member I see a lot, but it was still really hard. To just be going through this constantly. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people right now with COVID going on. They're starting to get this, realization that it's not cool. And I'm really, really sorry to everyone who has lost a family member due to COVID or any kind of, way this year. And I don't just mean anyone who has gone through this subject this year. I just mean, anyone who has ever gone through this subject. I'm really sorry about that. I know how you feel, and it's never gonna get really easy, but it's gonna get easier-ish. Okay, since I was so young when it happened, it has gone harder for me, but, it can be easy sometimes. Easier, not easy, never easy. This year has been really hard on everyone, and it's just not easy to constantly stay in your house. And I think part of my grandfather's confusion is because he's been in the house. He's had several deaths in the family, and his wife died last year. And you gotta understand, this was not easy for my family to go through. I mean, I hated seeing everyone sad, and it's not an easy thing to go through. Yeah, I just wanted y'all to know that. And I hope that y'all will have a great day. Bye.